So I will just ensure that we are streaming. Has any one of you also YouTube opened? Just
Yeah, I'm just doing this now.
Double check. Okay. Perfect. Here we are. That's looking good. So I will just ensure. All right. Yeah, here we are again after 2 months of silence. We start a new live session here. It's already full moon, and so a perfect time for a quick chat in our little group. And we have also a special guest today, which is Glenn from the UK, also known as astrobloke on social media. So you might have already seen him. And he will talk about his journey in astrophotography, maybe some gear things, and hopefully show us some pictures. And in the end of the session, we will share also some of our images that we took over the summer or over the late summer. I think there are plenty of very interesting things, maybe, but let's see, that's maybe a bit of secret. So yeah, I think without further ado, let's get started. Oh, just by the way, I want to mention, unfortunately, 3 of the ambassadors can't join today because of personal reasons. So it's a pretty small group tonight. The next session will be filled with more people then. But anyway, let's have a nice time. And now I give the stage to Glenn.
I've got the stage. Hi, everyone. Thank you ever so much for the invite. So, well, what can I say? So I've been doing astrophotography since the end of 2019. I started properly. And it started, well, I'd been taking time lapses of stars and mucking about with star trails and things like that, and always liked looking up at space, but didn't really know much about it. And then during a trip in Spain, I was at my in-laws' house and we could see the Milky Way with the naked eye. And they were not far away from some mountains, about a 10-minute, 15-minute drive. So we basically grabbed our cameras and I said, if we go up the mountains and take a long exposure, we should be able to get a nice picture. That was my sort of thoughts on it. And at the time, I only had a small Canon M3 and it had a 22mm lens, f2. And we went up there and I literally only had one of those little teeny travel tripods. And we went up the mountain and took some long exposures. And my plan was to do a time lapse of the Milky Way moving, but we couldn't stay up there too long. So I only ended up with about 20 pictures. And then when I got home, I was looking at how to process them. And then I came across stacking and I stacked them together. And it was then that I saw people like Trevor Jones and Chuck and things like that. And I basically discovered deep sky astrophotography, and I was literally like, you know, hooked straight away. And I thought, I've got to get into this. I really did. And that was the start basically of the rather deep rabbit hole I've fallen down, which I'm sure all of you know about. You know, you start off, oh, I'll just get a small telescope. And then before you know it, you've got a large collection. Do you want me to show you some pictures? I'll share my screen here. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I was going to show you actually was, this was the very first picture I took, which was of the Milky Way. It's not a great picture, but that was with my Canon M3 with a 22mm lens, and basically just sitting on a little travel tripod. And I took that, and it was that picture that after editing that I was basically completely hooked. And I thought, well, this is something I could really get into, because I've always been into photography. And but this really did sort of get me interested. So that was the first picture I'd ever taken. And And then I moved on to I bought a Canon 70D, and I had that modified, and I had that, and I was using that with a Zenith Star 61, which was my first scope. And I took some pictures that I quite liked, but when I look back at them now, I think they're terrible. That was the first picture. But I think we all see that when we progress to a point where we're happy, and then we look back at our early images and think, oh, we could have improved a lot. But yeah, gear has moved on a lot for me. I'm a fan of Newtonian scopes. I've owned a Ritchie Gretchen 8-inch. I've got a 130 PDS by Skywatcher. And now my favourite scope that I own is my Orion Optics CT10, which I use most of the time. And I've got that in my own roll-off roof observatory, which I built. So that's the scope I use mainly now for my images. And I've now moved on to cooled cameras. So I've got a ZWO 294mm Pro and a 2600mm Pro. I did start with a one-shot color, which was the 183, but I then was able to get hold of a 183 mono, and after going down the mono route, that was me sold on that, because I just loved the detail you got from it. And I find LRGB challenging where I live because I've got quite high light pollution. So I live in a Bortle 6 zone. I think Bortle 6 is the best it ever gets because I've got a lot of neighbours with very bright lights that come on at certain times. So if their lights are all off, I'm Bortle 6, but I think most of the time I'm Bortle 6.5 to 7. And the LRGB struggles with some of that. I get some quite nasty gradients and stuff. So I like to shoot a lot of narrowband, but I do shoot LRGB as well. But one image that I would really like to talk to you about is obviously it's quite a special image to me because I actually got awarded, along with some other guys, the NASA A-Pod last year. So on the 17th of June 2021, this Crescent Nebula picture was the A-Pod for NASA that day. And I took this with a guy who I've become very good friends with in Colorado, Joe Navarra, a really lovely guy. And we've done lots of collaborations together. And also a guy called Russell Discombe, who's in the UK. He lives in, I've forgotten where he lives, at Cirencester, I think. But anyway, he lives out the Cotswolds way. And we all got together and we put our data together on this image. I think we collected 38 hours in total. And this was our collaboration of this, and we were really proud of it, obviously. And to get the A-Pod as well, that meant a lot to us. And I would say that it's one of the biggest things I love about astrophotography is that I've got to meet some really nice people. And there's people I meet up with and do imaging with locally. And there's quite a few people that I've imaged with online as well. Another image which was quite an interesting first for me was this one here, which is the Statue of Liberty. I don't know how well that's showing up there. This was actually, because obviously this is a Southern Hemisphere target, and through YouTube, I became friends with a guy called Logan, who's Logan's Astrophotography, who lives in New Zealand. And Joe and I were invited by him to remotely control his observatory for the night. And this was some of the data that we captured. So we was able to get hold of that data and capture it. I actually struggled with the editing of this because I'd never obviously seen the image before, and I was not sure what to bring out and what was there. So, but that was quite an interesting experience to look at a different sky and take images from that. You know, that was I really did enjoy that. So Logan is actually supposed to be coming back and controlling my observatory at some point, but we've never got round to actually getting it arranged. I think the time the other way round is a lot more awkward. It was easier for me because it was just a morning and I was able to just like log in, but for him I think it's a bit more difficult. So but I do definitely want to do that for him and repay the compliment, because it was a wonderful experience to be able to use his scope and image the skies in the southern hemisphere. And I'd like to do it again someday. You know, they've got some amazing targets down there. They really have. It's
can you tell us a bit about the equipment which was used for this one?
I'm trying to remember what he's got actually. I think he's got a Skywatcher refractor. I think it's the 120. And his camera at the time was the 2600 Pro. And it was following the capture of this that made me decide to go and buy the same camera, because I loved it so much. It took such good data and was a nice sensitive camera. And obviously the APS-C size sensor was nice as well. That prompted me to get it. So yeah, that was the equipment he used there. And he runs his rig off of Ioptron CEM 120. Which was so he's got a very nice setup. It's lovely, and he's got a really nice observatory that he had built by some builders, and yeah, it's really nice. And I really got to know him because I'd helped him with his roll-off roof automation. So Joe and I had worked very much on automating our roll-off roofs that we'd built using an Arduino and some code, and basically we've helped a few people get their roofs working as well, and Logan was one of those people, and this was like his way of thanking us really by inviting us to use his observatory. So
that sounds really cool.
Glenn, you're very welcome to use my observatory at some point, and it's the same time zone more or less.
Oh, brilliant, Peter. That's lovely. It's definitely easier than trying to fly there. It's a long way and expensive. So, but yeah, I know, I like that, and I really think it's great that the technology allows people to, you know, literally talk to each other from all around the world and also do this hobby, which I think's a great thing. It really is good. So, yeah, that was a really good experience. I was just trying to think. I've done quite a lot of collaborations. I find that some of my best images are from collaborations. And another guy that Joe and I have worked with quite a lot is a guy called James Negri. I don't know if you know him. He's known as a DSO Imager on YouTube. And we did this project on Able 85, which we actually collected nearly 200 hours of data between all three of us, and it was a really difficult edit because Joe and James had done a wide field image and I could only do a very cropped in image. It was literally just the bulb, like the garlic bulb itself. And so we ended up with a massive box around it, and it really did take some playing about with Photoshop and stuff to get rid of the box around that, so that we could get it to come out as, because we preferred it as a bit of a wide field shot. So and that's definitely the biggest project I've ever worked on. So yeah, that took some doing. But one of my favorite scopes is actually my little 130 PDS, which I've had from early on, and that's a very cheap scope actually. When I bought it, it was £179 new. I think it's become a little bit more now, but I've managed to get some great images with it, and this was one of my favorite images with it, which was the dark shark. And I managed to get this, and this wasn't at home though. I tried to get this at home and my sky conditions just don't allow it. So I was actually on a camping trip with a group of UK astronomers called the UK Cloud Magnets. We was in a Bortle 4 zone.
Okay.
I think Bortle 3 to 4 in Ludlow in Shropshire, which is near the Wales borders, and it's a very dark sky there. And with my 130 PDS, I was able to capture this over 3 nights, and I was really happy with the results from that, actually. I really loved the colours that came out on the stars and the little galaxy that shows up by the shark. I didn't even know that was there until I took the image. So, but I really love the fact that I've got this little cheap scope that actually can produce quite good images. It's I find that kind of appeals to me in a way, that you've got something that with a few tweaks you can actually get to perform to quite a high standard. So,
Hey, Glenn, can you just zoom in on the galaxy up there?
can I zoom in on the galaxy up there?
Oh, there are details. That's great. Yeah.
Okay, this 130 PDS is serving you really well.
Yeah, it's quite. I must be honest. When I was taking the images, I didn't see it, and then it wasn't until I started stacking I saw it, and I wasn't aware of it before. So, and I've actually, this has really got me going now for dark nebulas. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why, because I'm a glutton for punishment, I think, because where I live, dark nebulas are really difficult to get. But I did manage to take. I'm trying to think if I've got it on here, actually. I did have it on here and it's disappeared. I think it's on here, actually. Bear with me a second. Oh, I've got a broken it now. There it is. I don't know if it's going to come up. Done well when I look. It was working really well. It's not going to show. It's called the Seahorse Nebula, but it didn't come out too bad. But I haven't got it on the main screen, unfortunately, and I haven't got it in my Astrobin. So my Astrobin, I was telling Torsten, is not very well organised yet. I need to spend some time and actually fill in the details. You'll notice that a lot of my images are not even shared to the public area yet, because I've not written a single detail in there. I end up so busy doing things like my YouTube and stuff, it becomes so difficult. And also at the moment, we've actually sold our home and we're moving. And we're in the middle of packing stuff up, and I'm going to have to dismantle all of my Astro gear. And I'm like, I said to my wife, I'm going to be at a complete loss at what I'm going to do when I pack all my Astro gear away. I'm going to be like, oh no. But the nice thing is we're moving to a Bortle 4 zone. Ooh. So for my hobby, it's going to be an enormous advantage. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, really am. So are there any images there you'd like to look at?
Yeah. The one in the middle that's blue.
This one here?
Yes.
Yeah, this is an interesting one that I didn't take that long ago. It's called the Celestial Snow Angel. And this was one where I was on Stellarium, and I was literally just looking for something to take an image of. And I think the moon was up as well. So I was like looking north, and I saw this target, and I wasn't sure what it was. Looked on online, and there's some NASA images of it that are just literally amazing. And I thought, wow, that's a really stunning picture. My 1200 millimeters was struggling because it was so small, and I had to really crop in. But it's not too bad. It's not as good a detail as I would like, and I would really like to go back onto this target, but I think you would need something like an edge 9.25 or something like that to really get into it. So I think my reach was just a little bit too far away from it, but I was quite happy with the results that I got, considering. And when I've looked at what else is out there, I haven't done too bad on the detail side. So, but yeah.
How bright is it?
Sorry?
How bright is it? Because it looks super bright on the image. Maybe you can.
It is actually quite a bright image, and what happens is you end up with just this like overblown white blob. So you have to be quite careful with it when you're editing it as well. The center part here, there's a lot of oxygen in this area here, and it really blows out. Yeah, it's not dim in that respect, but it's just so small.
So could it be a good target for lucky imaging? Maybe?
Possibly, it possibly could. So lucky imaging isn't something I've really ever attempted, and maybe I should give that a go with something like that. But my main feeling with it was that I just didn't really have the focal length to do it justice. And I think with a bit more focal length, because this is cropped in really heavily. The original picture, it's minute. It's really quite small.
This is SH2 106 for you to know. I just looked it up and it appears really, really small. I can't believe where you get these details from. That's crazy.
I had to take quite a lot of data. There's actually 35 hours there of data. So I did have to push it to get to get the details to come out. And I did find that as I was working on it, the more I was taking, the more detail was coming out. But then I got to a point where it wasn't getting any better, and I just thought and then I think I was being held back by the focal length. So that was an interesting target. I do like to find targets that aren't imaged that often, you don't see, I like to find new targets. It is nice to do that. But sometimes, that can cause you a lot of problems because you just don't know where to start with it,
It's very similar to the Bug Nebula with NGC's 6302.
Yes.
Bipolar planetary nebula is very similar to that.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've not actually imaged that one. Planetary nebula, I've not done a lot of. This was one which is called Medusa, which was another one I had to get quite a lot of data on. And I wasn't too displeased with that. I think there's a lot more fainter stuff that I could bring out on this one. But again, this one was quite difficult for me because of my sky conditions. You have a problem where you're pushing to a point and then you end up bringing out a lot of really, really severe gradients, and they're quite hard to control. So I definitely get limited here with my sky, and I'm really hoping that, in the near future, my sky is going to be a lot better. So hopefully I can revisit some of these images and improve them as much as possible. So
this was done in narrowband, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I played about with color palettes, and I used in PixInsight the 4XX palette. I don't know if you know of that palette, and I used that, and I found that gave me a color palette that I was quite happy with. It brought out some nice details, and it just looked a bit different to what the normal ones look like. A lot of them are just red and blue. And I just I liked it that it looked a bit different. That was my feeling on that one. Yeah,
that's really nice one.
So I quite like the colours that came out on that one. But again, that's another one that I feel like I would like to revisit actually, with a darker sky, because it was very faint. That was it. And talking of faint targets, my most recent collaboration with James and Joe again was the Flying Bat and Squid Nebula, which is this one. And again, we went crazy with the time on this. We actually got 93 hours on this. And again, it was for me, the oxygen side was really difficult. I had to get a lot of oxygen to make mine show. But yeah, that was another huge project that we took on, which we seem to do all the time now. But that's one of the advantages, I think, of having an observatory. You can, whenever it's clear, you can just set it up to get going and capture that data. You don't necessarily have to sit with it the whole time. So,
Exactly, yes.
yeah.
That's some crazy resolution and detail.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did come out really well. It's James was using his Edge HD 8-inch. I used the CT10, and I think Joe was using his Zenith Star 81. He had a much wider field view of it, and he shared a wider image of it. But this was the most cropped in version, which was matching James's Edge HD, because he actually started the image, and I think he got to something like 30 hours and was just struggling to get what he wanted out of it. And then he approached Joe and myself and said, would you help me with it? And of course we love doing anything like that, so we jumped at it, and we started straight away capturing everything we could for him. And this was what we ended up with, which we're all really happy with. Actually, we think it's a really good image. So I wanted to do it justice, because I know it's quite a difficult one to get that separation between the HA and the O3. So
It's incredible. How is your seeing? Like, even your snow angel image had incredible detail.
Yeah, the seeing can be a bit varied. I'm right by the coast, and I'm very low as well. I'm literally only 26 meters above sea level.
How do you get such images then? It's incredible.
I don't.
No joke.
I mean, images like this. I mean, Joe, who lives in Colorado, has got amazing conditions. He's like Ball 3, and he's up in the mountains, so he's got like the opposite of what I have. And I'll be honest, some nights I have to throw away my data because the seeing will be so poor, or the humidity. I mean, I can get humidity in 95%. 96% humidity, and the seeing is just horrendous. And I always know when my seeing's bad, my guiding just doesn't want to play ball. It starts going all over the place, and then I just think tonight's not going to work, even though it looks clear. It's not, and I have to just give up. But we just had an amazing year this year in the UK. The weather has been really good, and we've had so many spells of clear weather. I've really managed to capture a lot of hours this year, more than any other year. I really have, and that's helped. That helps. So, but yeah, there's not much I can do about the seeing apart from move, which is what I'm doing. So hopefully that'll play into my hands if I'm lucky. So yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to see? Or no?
What about the galaxy with the ring? So I think it's M94.
It's called the cat's eye or the croc's eye, isn't it?
Yeah, croc's eye.
Yeah, this again was a collaboration I did with Joe. Just Joe and I did this one. And again, we just tried to capture a lot of data. And I think I've got it written down. Yeah, this was 34 hours of LRGB and then HA as well. So one of the things I like to do is always add HA to my galaxy images. I normally find it adds something to them. And this was a mad one, because I think one night the moon was up, and I was having terrible trouble with things, and my LRGB wasn't coming out. And in one night I captured 7 hours of HA on it, which Joe then decided not to take any HA, because he said, I think I'd covered it all. And then we put it in, and that was it. So yeah, that was the croc's eye. This part here is the hard bit to pull out. the outer ring here. So you see quite a lot of images of the center part, but you don't see many that have the outer part as well. So we were quite pleased to be able to grab that. So yeah,
I'm really planning on going deep on this one this season.
Yeah, it's quite a good, interesting target actually, and yeah, as long as you get, you need a lot of exposures to get the outer ring, but it will come out. I think we could have actually done more on this. We stopped on this one because sometimes we decide we've done enough and we stop, and sometimes we just continue like madmen. But our computers really suffer. So we end up filling them up very quickly at this rate. So I've recently had a lot of issues. I did this Heart Nebula image, which actually I did it with my CT10, and it's actually a 12-panel mosaic.
Oh.
This is how mad I am. That was 54 hours. And I managed to get everything together, and I had a few problems with it because different panels had different gradients because of the light pollution in my area and everything. But what I had the issue with it was when I came to share it on social media, it was so big. And by the time when I was resizing it, I destroyed the image. So it didn't matter what I did, it just wouldn't look the same. And the problem is, it's like, I think the resolution is on here, isn't it? It tells you it's 14,000. Yeah, it's 12,700 by 14,750. And the TIFF file was over a gigabyte.
Yeah.
So I was having some real issues with that one, posting it. But yeah, it was a project I wanted to do, and I'm quite pleased with it. But I definitely, it hasn't quite come out how I wanted, and I want to do it again.
What software did you use to combine that mosaic?
All right, my favorite program for combining is Astro Pixel Processor.
Okay.
I just think that program for putting data together, it's hard to beat. Whenever I've tried to use PixInsight, I get mixed results. Sometimes it doesn't do it, or it crashes, or it doesn't come out how I want. And Astro Pixel Processor just seems to be so simple. Even with mosaics, you can chuck it all in and it will just do it for you.
Okay, that sounds cool.
And also, especially with the collaborations, so Joe or James or whoever I'm working with will make their masters, and I can make my masters, and Astro Pixel Processor will put them together. And one of the nice tools in there, they've got LNC, local normalization correction tool. So what it will do is it will try and put the backgrounds and try and match them as best as possible. I suppose it's a similar thing like linear fit in PixInsight. So what it will do is it will put everything together, and it just does an amazing job at putting all of the data together. And I really think that's a great tool there. But for post-processing, PixInsight is king, I think. And then I always finish in Photoshop. So I end up with all of them. I've got programs everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, I always try also to do mosaics at sometimes, and it's just not working with PixInsight with my configuration. I always struggle with the gradients, and with this enormous processing time, it calculates for hours, and then the result is not really working. So I'm always looking for a let's say more easy solution to create a mosaic.
Yeah, APP is really easy and straightforward, but it takes ages too, so
Okay.
you won't get around that.
Okay.
I've managed to sort my APP speed out, actually.
You did?
Yeah. Do you use the beta version or do you use the standard version?
The standard version.
Okay, they got a beta version out, which is definitely quicker. But I recently upgraded my PC, and that's made a huge difference. So I've got an i9 12900 24 core And I've got 64 gig of RAM as well, DDR5, and that definitely has added, and it's made that actually become quite a usable program. APP, it seems to fly through it now. Although whenever you do mosaics, I don't know, mosaics always take a long time.
Yeah, especially LMC takes ages.
Yeah,
when you turn it
LMC
on.
does slow it down, and when you're doing a 12-panel mosaic,
Yeah.
you have to wait. The room was definitely warmer when I came back in. I think the PC was warming the room up. I made it work hard. So, but I think I'm going to have to rethink mosaics. I'm not sure if there's like a size you get to where it becomes too difficult to manipulate the files, and you end up degrading them to try and get them to a size that you can use them. I'm not sure what to do about that. You might have to think maybe 6 panels is the max. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Glenn, there is a question. I believe it's directed to you. What do you use Photoshop for over and above the post-processing in PixInsight?
On Photoshop, I normally just finish off a little bit of the color. So what will happen is in PixInsight, I'll get it extremely close to what I like. And then I normally find I go into Photoshop and I normally actually go into the camera raw settings, and then I'll make some slight tweaks, normally with the clarity, and then I'll go into the color sliders, and I normally find, like the orange might need to be a little bit redder, or just very small tweaks. They're not big, but I do find, Photoshop for me just gives it that final finishing touch that I struggle to get with PixInsight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes some images I don't use PixInsight. It does depend on the image. Sometimes I'll stack it in Astro Pixel Processor and I'll jump into Photoshop just to do a very quick edit to it. And sometimes I'm so happy with the image that's there that I don't go into PixInsight. So it just depends, really. So yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything specific that I've used. I'm just trying to think if there's an image here that I've not used PixInsight on. I think actually this was one. This bubble nebula, I didn't use PixInsight at all. Oh, it's not going to load. That's good. Yeah, this one. This was literally Astro Pixel Processor and Photoshop. I didn't use PixInsight at all. So sometimes I don't know. It doesn't need it. It depends. Depends on the data, I think.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, if I do a quick one just to have a look at the data and I'm happy with it, I'll just go with that. So
Still nice result.
yeah, I think it came out now. So for me, it's I like to try and capture as much detail as possible, and then I like to play with color palettes and just try and get something to look a little bit unique. What I liked about this one was there was a really nice bit of blue oxygen outside of the bubble just coming through, which I thought looked quite nice, and I liked the blue that came out. It was quite a nice deep royal blue, which doesn't always happen. So yeah, I went with that one. I quite like that one. That came out quite nice. That was one I've imaged a few times, the bubble. So I think when you image something more than once, you also start to find different ways of editing it, and what you like and how you bring out the different details. An interesting one with Joe and I, we actually shared, we actually put out the bubble nebula data to our subscribers on our YouTube channels, and basically asked everyone to edit our data and to see what they could come up with, and then we kind of did a a sort of a gallery of all the different results, and it was amazing actually with how different an image can look from the same data, just from different people's approaches of how they edit it. And it was really interesting to see what information they brought out and what they concentrated on and what color palettes they used. It was really good actually. It was quite a good experiment. That was, we enjoyed that one. That was fun.
Glenn, another question, also from John. What software do you use to capture? SGP, SharpCap, something else?
Oh, right. Nina is my preferred.
Plus
so
one for Nina. Okay.
Plus
one for Nina.
Yeah, but when I started, I used to use astrophotography tool. And then at the time, I'd moved on to mono, and astrophotography tool didn't have a focus routine for all the different filter offsets and things. So, and also I don't think it didn't have a mosaic tool either. And so I took the plunge to go for Nina. And once I got used to that, I missed the voice on APT. I know that sounds rather sad, but I used to like the fact she used to talk to me when I was imaging. It kept me company out in the dark. But Nina, I found to be a much more comprehensive program, and of course now it also controls my astrophotography, the observatory roof. So I've got it completely automated now. So I do shift work. I'm a train driver by trade, and obviously I work nights. And I used to hate be driving my train late at night, and I see the sky was clear and I wasn't imaging. I'd be like, couldn't wait to get home. So now I've got my rig completely automated that if I'm not at home, I can still log in. Even from my phone, I could just literally turn it on and go play, and it will just it'll go, and it will start grabbing the data. And then when I finish work, say at 2, 3 in the morning, I can be at home, I can go down, and it's all working, and I can just carry on from there, or just download the data or do whatever. So, and Nina's given me the ability to do that because I can have the roof in the routine now. So at the start of the routine, it just opens the roof, calls the camera, gets the scope up, does the imaging, and then in the morning, it's so nice. I'll just pick my phone up and check. I've got a little camera in the observatory, so I can see what's going on. I just turn it on and I can see everything's parked and the roof's shut, and I can go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Put the phone on snooze, and that's it. It's great.
I had a question about your shift work and when you're away and you're automated. Do you have any safety monitor set up yet in your observatory? Because the weather is quite temperamental in the UK, as it is here in Cape Town. It can be pretty, it can literally change in a matter of an hour. And I've been caught with my pants down a couple of times with the rain. I've been lucky. I've been really lucky, but I've now installed a safety monitor, and it's I can now sleep without any major worry.
I seriously do need to add a rain sensor or something like that, or a weather station, and that is a plan of mine to do, but I haven't, and I've never been caught out. And I know that I've obviously been very lucky, but where I live in the UK in the southeast, it's the driest part of the UK, and it's quite strange that the weather doesn't change all of a sudden. Where I live, it doesn't change all of a sudden. It just seems to stay whatever's set. So if it's raining, it will rain all day. If it's sunny, it'll be sunny all day. It's just what it does. I don't know why. But if I'm away from home and the weather's a bit not sure, or there could be a forecast of some rain in the night, I won't image. I'll just leave. If I'm not at home, I'll just leave it. So I'll only image if the weather's so-so, if I'm at home and I can monitor it personally. So, yeah. But you are right. I should have have something like that, and I will sort that out. I promise.
The second time it happened to me, I said, right, that's it now. I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I've never been caught out. It's all been fine. But yeah, I mean, obviously, what's going to happen now? My observatory, when I built it, was a budget one. It was just a temporary. It was a kind of a temporary sort of thing. It was all I could fit in the space I had. And I did it as cheap as possible, and it's worked brilliantly. It's been really good. It's just a converted shed. It's been amazing. When I move, I've got a lot more space, and my plan is to actually build a proper observatory with a warm room and everything. And when I do that, I will be adding in things that are missing from this one. I think, you know, there'll be a little bit more high tech. Not a plastic shed with the top cut off, which works great, but it is a plastic shed. Everyone's gone silent. They're like, this guy images from a plastic shed.
At least you have one.
Yeah. It worked. I mean, it works great. It really is good.
Mine's made from refrigeration paneling, so it's not too different. You know, it's just pasted together, but it works. You know.
Yeah. No. I mean, to have a permanent setup is a dream. It really does make a massive difference to the hobby, and it allows you to capture data where, you know, I'm sure you've all had it where. You've got a 2-hour window to image, but you've had a really bad day or you've had a long day, and the last thing you feel like doing is dragging all your gear out and setting it all up, and you know, or you've been like me, I've set my gear up, spent, I don't know, 20-30 minutes setting all my gear up, and then the clouds have come in and you're like, well, is that going to clear? No, it's not. And then I've packed it all away, and as I take the last bit in, the clouds clear.
Yes, we all know that. Yeah.
Back out and you start again, and then the clouds come up, and you go like you're pulling your hair out, and you just think, I don't know if I've got the energy to keep doing this. So the observatory takes all of that away, because it is literally, I mean, I'm a push of a button. You know, I push a button and the roof comes off. But before then, it was literally undo a couple of catches and push the roof off, and you're ready to go. And that makes a massive, massive difference to your hobby and allows you to capture a lot more data. I would never have done half the projects I've done if I didn't have my observatory, if I was just setting it up manually in the garden. And hats off to people that do that every time they image, because it is hard work, without a doubt. Do you have observatories? Yeah, I know you do, Peter, didn't you?
Yes, I have.
Thorsten does. Sophie, you're thinking of building one, aren't you?
I was, but I've spent my money on a new scope. on a 20-inch. Now I have to set this one up as well. So.
Wow, that's a big scope.
Yeah.
What's the reach on that?
It's a 3.2, so it has 1600 millimeter focal length. Yeah, it's for lucky imaging, so it's a big Dobsonian scope, and I have an EQ platform. So I don't have it yet. It's getting built right now. It needs like 5 months.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I need to wait quite a lot.
Well, you should have a look at the Celestial Snow Angel.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I haven't seen this one before, and it looks so bright, and I'm really looking for bright images. Yeah,
it is bright.
Targets.
It is bright, so yes, it would be good for lucky imaging. Definitely, give that.
I'll put it on my list.
Yep, that's one for the bucket list. That would be good. Yeah.
Glenn, I have another question from the chat.
Okay.
You seem to do pretty much only mono images. What's your opinion on using OSC cameras? Would you go back by using color camera if sky condition allows it?
Okay, yes. Nothing wrong with one-shot color at all. One of my astro friends, Simon, he uses one-shot color and gets amazing images. In fact, I did a collaboration with him. This was in where I'm actually moving to, the area I'm moving to, and we took this image of the Lion Nebula.
Wow.
And this is a combination of my mono data with his one-shot color data. And I'll be honest with you, his 2600 one-shot color brought out, you know, fantastic detail. You know, so there's nothing wrong with one-shot color at all. Would I go back to it? Yes, I've got nothing against it at all, and I'm actually thinking of buying a new scope next week. So in the UK, there's a international astronomy show next weekend, and I'm going to that. And I've got some birthday money and some other money saved up, and I'm looking to buy a scope. I want one that's going to bridge the gap between my 130 and my CT10. So, and I'm thinking that eventually in the future I'll get another camera to go with my third setup, and I might go back to one-shot color. So, for that, also because of my YouTube channel, I think there's a lot of people use one-shot color. So for me, having a one-shot color camera as well would appeal to that part of the audience that use those cameras, to see what how I would use one and then what they can do with it. So yeah, I am thinking of getting one. I'm not sure which one though.
Have you decided the new scope yet?
Not yet, no. I'm going to with my mind open. I'm not sure who's there actually, so I'm just gonna have a good look and see what it's about. So yeah, be interesting. See what I get. Also, I had to wait, like Sophie, for my CT10. I had to wait 5 months for that, and that was a long wait. So you part with a lot of money and then you wait a very long time, but it was worth it. It was worth it. So yeah.
Glenn, so if I'm right, your CT10 is f5, right?
It's nearly. It's 4.8.
4.8, okay.
Just under f5, yeah.
So basically the same as mine. And you said you want your new scope to be between the 130 and 250, right?
Yeah.
Like somewhere in between. Well, I'm just tell you my thoughts about that, because my rooftop is basically made out of rocks, like there's rocks on it, and every movement where I walk just messes up everything. And I'm currently thinking about getting a reducer corrector for it.
Yeah.
Which is basically 0.75 from Arizona. It also has the 55 millimeters of back focus, and it basically lowers your focal length to 900, which is basically in between your
current. I can say it. The only question I've got about that, I don't know, with my CT10, the focuser is it's a very low focuser. It's not got much depth to it at all. And I've got a 0.9 reducing coma corrector from Skywatcher that I can use on my 130 PDS. But when I put it on the CT10, I can't get focus. I can't get it to focus. I think I can if I remove my off-axis guider, but then I'd have to try and work out guiding for it and everything. So at the moment, with my off-axis guider, if I add that reducing coma corrector, I can't get focus. It just won't quite go in enough to get it to focus. With the I use the Beta MPCC Mark III coma corrector with the CT10, and with that I don't have any problems at all. So it's got to be something to do with the reducing coma corrector that it just won't get that focus. So I don't know whether or not other reducing coma correctors would give me the same issue or not, and it is something I've thought about, but I wasn't sure whether or not it would work. But the other reason why I'm thinking of getting another scope in between is that would also be a scope that's a bit more portable, that I can take to star parties and that. Although I am actually considering taking the CT10 to a star party in November. I don't know why. I must be mad, but I am. But that's only because I know I'm taking the observatory down anyway, so it's going to be sitting in the corner, so I might as well take it somewhere.
You know what's mad? Visiting a star party in November. How is there any clear skies?
Well, I know what you're saying, but where we're going, that's the place I went. This will make you laugh. I mean, there's actually a video on my YouTube channel of the actual star party with where I got the shark, and in the daytime it was snowing. It was -4. We was all camping. I've got a camper van, so it's not too bad. But it was really weird. We was 282 meters above sea level, and it's like at the top of a valley. And for some reason, every night, all the clouds just disappeared, and it was clear. And they've been doing star parties there for a couple of years in the group that I belong to, and I think they've always had really good results. So, and it's around the new moon, so fingers crossed, no clouds, and I'll be able to get another image. But who knows? If you don't go, you'll never know. It'll be cold though.
Yeah, that's the another issue. November star parties or December. I know my friend went to Bosnia to Bota 2 skies in January, and he regrets every second of it. Just the data was insane. Otherwise, it was shit. So
yeah, it definitely is a challenge with that. I mean, I've got some seriously worn clothing which I wear. I actually wear fishing leggings that are like a bib with braces, and then I wear a snowboarding jacket on top. I do look interesting, but I'm warm, so that's the best way to do it, really. When was the Dark Shark? The Dark Shark was, I'm trying to think what dates it was taken. It was end of March that we went. It was the end of March. So it was quite cold, and the weather was, in the daytime the weather wasn't that great, but at night it was lovely. It was lovely and clear. So, and I was really pleased because I was able to get that Dark Shark image, which I'd been after, and I'd failed to get it at home. So that was really good result.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the comment section about the Nexus 0.75 comma corrector, Edward said that it doesn't change the focal plane at all. So if you're good with the BARDA, you should be good with the Nexus 0.75.
Which comma corrector was that again? Sorry.
Nexus 0.75.
Right, you're gonna make me start doing some shopping online now.
Well, like, it's really expensive. I think it's 600 euros.
My wife is watching this chat.
I'm just kidding. It's around 200. And if you get a discount, 150.
Oh no, I'm busted. So that one doesn't change the focal length. Okay.
Apparently, no. This is what Edward said.
All right, okay, and that would take me to 900 mil, would it?
Yep, and f3.2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is
that's
the fun
where
part.
That's where the issue comes in, isn't it? Because
I mean, I have the 533 so the sensor is super small. This is the good part about it. With a 294, your collimation will have to be on point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite confident with my collimation. I'm not worried about that, but what I would be worried about is I've got the I've got chroma filters, but I've also got the Antlia 3 nanometer filters, and I'm not sure how they're gonna fare up with that f2.2.
Oh,
because
that sounds critical.
It starts to do shift, doesn't it? Like it starts causing problems, doesn't it, with the filters? You haven't got high-speed filters.
But I'm also not sure. Are these Antlias possible for that high speed, or is there only BARDA?
No, only BARDA.
Only BARDA.
Only BARDA, yeah. Yeah, so I'd have to include a set of filters as well.
And Astronomic has from f3.5, I think. or 3.2, something around there.
Yeah, you see, there's so many. It's one of those things, isn't it? You can't just go, oh yeah, I'll just get a reducing corrector for that, because all of a sudden it throws in all the extra things like the filters and that. So if I was, say, one shot color and not shooting through a filter, it's not a problem. But then you've got that added thing that you've got to be careful of any tilt, and because it'll exaggerate all of that, won't it?
And I believe you want to use, let's say, do a narrowband on that with an OSC camera. There will be a time where you want to use that filter, and this is definitely not working.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Octolong just made the high speeds and extreme, I think.
oh yeah, this ultimate or
Well,
is
I'm
it?
not sure. I think it's that extreme.
Okay.
Ultimate is to f2 point. No, it's 3 nanometers, and the extreme can be done at f2.
Folks, I have to do a little sort of hard cut now. Then thank you very much for these interesting informations and these stunning pictures. That was really incredible, especially when we consider the time you are in that hobby. That's really fantastic, and I'm pretty sure we have in the future there will be even more stunning things to come. So that looks really great.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity and for the invite. It was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we would now do the next part, because otherwise we just split our time frame, or we hit our time frame. We are doing always a little invitation to the viewers to send us photos that we can share here. And I will share my screen and just show you. This time there weren't that many photos, unfortunately. But no problem, I think 3 or so. And by the way, no, that's stupid when I don't show anything here. I will just come back to it. So let's do it this way. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. By the way, we started a contest with 3 objects that anyone can send us photos of 3 objects. This is the Andromeda Galaxy. This is Stefan's Quintet. And the third one was the Elephant's Trunk Nebula. And we do a giveaway, so you can win a voucher for the shop. We will select the best photo in our opinion. So there's a group of a jury that selects the best photo of these 3 categories. And I'm really looking forward to it. That runs until end of October. So everyone is invited to send us photos. We already have some photos, and yeah, looking really forward to the best one of them. But anyway, let's get started with some of the user images. One of our resident viewers, Renje Bonde Hoffmann from Denmark, sent us 3 images here with a very nice explanation here. I haven't seen it in this way, but really cool, all from Denmark. Let's start with the first one. I have to do it a different way. So of course oh, he's also in the chat. Yes, now here on just for wrapping up here. TS Optics 100Q, pretty insane optic, EQ6R, ZWO ASI 294 MC Pro, and L Extreme filter. This one, I hope everyone can see this. Yeah, this is pretty nice, and it was also pretty deep integrated, something around 13 hours. This is nice. That's a nice one.
Yeah, really.
The next one, the Phantom of the Opera. This is as I remember, a pretty difficult object, but comes out very bright here. I tried this also a couple of months ago, and it was not nearly that bright, but still nice image here. Also with the L extreme, yes, 16 hours. 16 hours, nice. And the last one, a wall in NGC 7000. I believe the same setup, and pretty nice details here.
Yeah.
In this wall. Nice processing, really great. Okay, so thank you for that. The next one, let me just quickly translate it. This is Melot 15, and you see 1805. Oh, that's also nice. Would be better if I can rotate it, but yeah, let's just go inside. I think here's a no. Now it pops up. There was JPEG compression artifact. Now that looks good here. That's a nice core. Oh, I believe we lost Glenn already. That was not my intention. Just a moment, please. Sorry. Oh yeah, Glenn has left us. That was not planned that way, unfortunately. I will get in contact with him again, thank him again for his time to be here. That was really cool to have him. Okay, and then there was just one last mail that reached me 40 minutes ago from Anders. So Nebula, 2 by 8 hours as mosaic. Whoa, yeah. That's also a nice one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Really nice processing. And I believe this is the same equipment used here. ASI 533. Okay, that's also maybe the reason why it's a bit narrow. Fossil footprint, 13 hours of integration, but very nicely done, I think.
Yeah, you rarely see the filaments that are up above the fossil footprints.
This one here, yeah?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
right.
super dim.
Mhm. Okay, cool. So far for that. Yeah, guys, what do you think? Will you show us something? Would we just do a little round? Maybe we can let Peter start because he had to left us then on a hard time limit. What do
That
you
sounds
think?
cool. Let me see if I can share, please.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, can you?
Yes.
Perfect. Just go full screen. There we go. So starting with the tarantula. So this is something I captured a few weeks ago. It's with the 94 EDPH, shot in HOO essentially. And I think it came in at around about 22 hours of data, about 11 hours per channel. And then with the same region, but this is now, of course, the tarantula is part of the large Magellanic Cloud. So this is, in fact, a project I started last year, and I've been adding some more data to it. So this is the LMC. Of course, here is the Tarantula Nebula. This was shot with the Samyong 135 millimeter, together with the 2600 mm, and at f2.8. So I was using the Bada high-speed filters with this, again, HOO. And I want to carry on, just adding data to this. I want to sort of add the sulfur channel and then also the RGB as well, get the RGB stars. So that's the plan for this year, this season, with this target.
This is really incredible. Like, your resolution looks so good.
Fantastic.
Your stars are so tiny. How did you do that?
I don't know. It just came. I think I've got an amazing sample with this lens. I've been very, very lucky because with the Rokinon or the Samyong, you can be unlucky, and the quality control isn't always there. But in this particular case, I think I've got a great sample, so I'm really, really happy with the results I'm getting with it.
It's like there's fireworks in the sky.
Then
All these little blobs.
got the Rasa 8-inch back into operation again. I had some issues with it, and I've managed to recollimate it and fix things up. Now this is not a particularly interesting image from the point of view of the globular cluster, but if you zoom in, actually, let me just go back to the previous. Here we go. Right, if we zoom in, there are a ton of galaxies sort of in here. There's a little galaxy here, which is kind of neat. There's another galaxy up here, so a side-on spiral, and there are several other little galaxies as well. Sort of, there's one here, another one down here, another sort of face-on spiral. And I think that's really neat. You take these images of globular clusters, and then you scan across the image, and you find all this interesting stuff that pops up. So that's the.
This is with the Rasa 8?
That's with the Rasa 8, yeah. So I think it's sort of about, I don't know, about 40 minutes of data.
And how long were your subs that you just didn't?
It's 30 seconds.
Oh wow!
I could probably go even lower. Probably 10 seconds would suffice for objects like this. This is with the 533 MC Pro, so one-shot color.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, this is Messier 7. Also I would say about 45 minutes worth of data with the 533. So I've been experimenting with the Rasa 8 again, just to get sort of more into lucky imaging, and using it also for outreach, because you can get very quickly some decent images, and it's great for demonstrating astrophotography to school kids, and so it's been worth the effort getting it back into operation. And then a project which I've just started, well, not just started, it's been going for about a month and a half now. This is the Sculptor Galaxy. So this is about 10 hours worth of luminance data. And I'm really happy with the detail that I'm getting here as well with this image. This is with the Edge 9¼ inch and the 294 mm camera. So I'm really excited with this project, and hopefully I'll get enough clear nights to finish it.
That's fantastic. Just stunning.
Again, as Glenn was saying, we have in Cape Town, we have rather temperamental weather in terms of seeing. So typically, this is 10 hours, but I actually shot closer to 14 hours worth of luminance data, and I threw away 4 hours just to get to get the quality of data that I needed to pull out these details. And that's just life, it's just the way it is in Cape Town. As you sometimes get humidity up to some 95%. And the seeing can start good in the night, and then over the course of the evening, the seeing can really sort of drop down and deteriorate quite rapidly. And then then again the reverse can happen. You can start with very poor seeing, and then after the meridian flip, the data suddenly becomes amazing, and so it's you just need to let things run during the night and grab what you can get. So that's kind of been the last couple of months for me.
Great work, Peter.
Apologies for disappearing. My weather's not bad, but my internet connection is falling.
I was afraid that we lost you.
It just threw me out.
No.
Anyway, I'm back.
Cool.
Did you say those pictures were? Which one was with the 533, Peter?
These two here. This one, and the star color is not too bad.
No, it's quite nice.
And also this one, Messier 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one-shot color cameras, they do have their purpose, and with a fast telescope, you can pull together images really quickly. As I said, this was about 45 minutes each. So for bright objects, you can get nice images quite quickly. And what I generally do with the RAS is I'll produce my calibration frames ahead of time, and then I'll live stack these images. So at the end of the night, I'll have 2 or 3 pretty much ready stacked images to process.
Neat.
Okay, I'm really excited to hear about this new nebula, so I'm gonna just stop sharing and.
Yeah, then I think Sophie, would you take next one?
All right. Give me a second. So I have only one image to share, but I made some testing. So did some testing. So I'm going to look into that first. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I was always interested in how OSC compares to monodata. So I made a comparison here. We have I think those are, I'm not sure. I think those are 8 hours of OSC data in grayscale, and 50%, so 4 hours monodata, because you still need to shoot RG, RG and B. So I thought that was a fair comparison. 50% here and grayscale here, and you can see. I don't know. Maybe I need to zoom it a little bit more. Not sure how YouTube compresses those images, but yeah, you immediately see the detail in here.
I hope that the streaming will not mess this up, because we are talking now about details, but there is a difference. I can tell you from here there is a difference.
Yeah, I can see the difference.
So you have more contrast and you have more resolution, and
it's a cleaner image as well.
Sorry?
It looks a cleaner image as well, less noise as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of luminance data, yeah, mono wins, even though it's just 50% of the data. And then, well, we'll have a look at the narrowband data, and I mean, obviously, the mono data is going to win, but I thought, like, okay, so I have 4 times more pixel to capture data, so roughly 4 times more signal. Oops, I didn't want to show that one yet. So here we are. This is my my hunt for the very faint supernova remnants here in H alpha, which was my challenge for the past 2 months. And I started out with the L extreme and the 600 MC. And well, those are 22 hours of H alpha data with that setup, and you can't see
Please remember,
anything.
22 hours.
Yes, you
I
can
have to
see
emphasize
the
that.
count here. Yeah, those are 22 hours of data, and you can't see anything with the OC camera. And well, if you calculate like 4 times more pixels, so maybe 4 hours is a fair comparison when you compare it to the mono data, you can already see here there's definitely some signal. So here's like nothing at all. And here we already have signal after 4 hours, and at 22 hours, yeah, you really see the supernova remnant pop out, especially this part here. And well, then after 50, I finally got enough data to work with it. So, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a fair comparison, because, I mean, it probably isn't, because I shot this data with a 3 nanometer H alpha filter, and that one was shot with the L Extreme, so 7 nanometer. So yeah, that's probably a big reason too why the mono wins by that much. But the other thing you can see if I zoom in a bit more, I mean, the resolution of the screenshot isn't the best, but this is drizzled data, and it still looks worse in terms of resolution than the 4 hours. So yeah, mono is definitely the way to go if you want to shoot narrowband. So I probably keep the mono camera. Like,
that is a really cool comparison. Really informative. Great.
Yeah, so so far the only telescope which managed to capture those filaments was the Subaru telescope from Japan. And this is like the first time, I think, as far as I know at least, I couldn't find any other image online from an amateur source which was able to shoot those supernova remnants here. So I'm really proud and really happy that our amateur equipment is already capable of shooting such faint stuff, because it's extremely faint. Like, look at it. I almost gave up after seeing nothing of it on my 22 hours data with the OSC camera. So yeah, and this is the image I got. Here we are. We have the remnants here on top of NGC 7129. And we also have some other filaments over here and up here. Wait, I need to fit this. There we go.
Just quickly answer to Tully, that is the ZWO ASI 2600 mm. Am I right?
MM and MC, yeah.
And
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I shot luminance data with the mono camera and RGB data with the color camera here, and obviously H alpha with the mono camera. But Yasha found something interesting here, and that's the little guy over here, because thanks to the L Extreme, I also had 22 hours of O3 data, and what you can see here, that's O3, so it really looks like it could be a planetary nebula, and it's not in any catalog yet, so it's currently under investigation, but seems like something new, and that's extremely exciting. Like, that's the dream of any small astrophotographer, to capture your own discovery, basically.
And may I just add, can you zoom in back on the nebula, please?
The small one?
Yeah.
Yes.
And this little star in the middle of the blue stuff is a already confirmed white dwarf, which is the only star in the whole universe which can produce planetary nebulae. So basically, in every planetary nebula there's also a white dwarf, and this one right there is also a white dwarf with the correct characteristics to produce a planetary nebula.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, and well, I can't wait to hear back from the pros. Okay, yeah, there we go. I don't know. We should talk any more about this. We don't have too much
image
time.
Overall is just insane. You can see the galaxies on the right side between the big nebula and the cluster.
Yeah, those small
We're
ones here,
swimming
yeah.
in the H alpha, and the dark
Yes.
dust. This is just insane.
Yeah.
What's your total time on this, Sophie?
105 hours total. So 50 hours H alpha, I think 17 hours luminance, 14 hours RGB, and those 22 hours of oxygen.
It's just good to see, because I know I'm not just the only crazy person.
Yeah, as you started talking about those projects, it felt so relatable.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. It's a fantastic image. Really like that. Really like that.
Thank you.
Have you submitted to APOD yet or not?
I wanted to submit it yesterday, but I don't know. I didn't find the time yesterday, so I probably now I'm too tired to write a text. So maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
It's definitely worth a try. It was an APOD from other creators a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
but that was a whole different image because it was much narrower on the primary nebula. This one here with that dark structures and H alpha filaments, it's so crazy. That's worth a try.
You don't want to wait until you hear back about the candidates' planetary
Oh yeah,
nebula.
that's true.
Sorry, what did you
You
say?
don't want to wait until you hear back about the status of the candidates' planetary nebula before submitting for APOD, because obviously if it is
Yeah.
then
But
With
if
that-
it takes up to a year to hear back from those guys, I don't know if I can wait that long.
Yeah, maybe you can add that it is under investigation or something.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be cool.
On the last big APOD image of this nebula, they also had those top filaments under investigation if it's a supernova remnant. So basically, also had something not confirmed yet, but
Yeah, I think if you put in that that's being investigated, that would give it an interesting edge.
Yeah.
Anyway, definitely.
Yeah. I just want to add an answer to a question in the chat to Tarek. This is, Sophie, please correct me if I'm wrong, a TS Optics ONTC 8-inch f4.
f4.5.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah. With the paracore comma corrector, so roughly 1000 millimeter focal length.
Okay, great.
Good scope. Can recommend.
Okay, now we have all other images that we share should compare to that one, then we are screwed.
Right.
Great, okay.
Thorsten, do you have any images, or can I?
That's
I
the
have-
only image I have. Yeah,
I have also some. Jata, we are talked about that. Maybe also to the viewers. If you are interested, we will do an additional session with some more of our images, because after 2 months of clear nights, then it's just too much to do here in one show. That would take too long. So Yasha, maybe you can focus on your, don't know, best ones or whatever you think.
Okay, I have some of them here, so it won't take long, I hope. Okay, so this is my screen for the. Okay, so should I start with fun stuff or awesome stuff?
As you want.
Okay, I'm gonna awesome stuff. So recently I got the 533 Pro, and here are the first shots with it.
It's already winter. Oh my
Yes, this is Orion Nebula. I think it's just 30 minutes of data. And I gotta admit, this was just amazing. The data is just amazing. You see the trapezium. Even though I did 60-second subs, it's not blown out. So the 533 does the job really well. Yeah, this is the Orion Nebula. Then we go on to this one. This is the NGC 81891 in Andromeda. Yeah. Also has lots of background galaxies like this one here. I haven't done anything, but I haven't done a lot to this image yet. It's just stretched and a little bit of star reduction. You see the noise in the background. Still just 4 hours of data, so nothing serious yet. Then this is a part of Andromeda focusing on the NGC 2.206 cluster. Yeah, I was surprised that I even got this small stars here
Yeah, that's
around
great.
the whole galaxy.
Fantastic.
And the sharpness just neat. And this is also 1 hour and a half of data, so not a lot. And this is M33, also image with the 533 mm and the TS Photon 6-inch f5. There's also the small clusters in it, and the nebula here. Star cluster here. Then we have this. I've shown this already, but I did a reprocess and I like this a lot better. The star colors and the detail in the nebula.
Yeah.
This is the Wolf-Rayet star 134, and approximately 22 hours of
Wow.
total exposure
Okay.
time.
Also with the photon?
Yep,
Great.
but with a 16,000 mm Pro.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah. And this is a bit cropped in, so this is in the full film view. Then I have this image,
Yeah.
which I don't think I would like to zoom in because of the stars here. But otherwise the dust and the Pleiades here.
These dust clouds are crazy in that region.
And this is just around 3 hours of data with a DSLR. So they're
Okay.
super bright too. And the most recent image of IC342 with the TS533 color camera, which is a great camera. Luminance was done with a 533 mm and H alpha was done with a 60 centimeter corrected Dal-Kircham telescope in Sierra Remote Observatory.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's it. Cool.
Great
And
stuff, Jara.
thank you. And just to add, during the summer vacations, I went to Germany in TS workshop. And yeah, as you can see, I had a lot of fun there. So here is, I was mainly with Robert, and he taught me a lot of stuff. Here is how we were collimating this RC. I think it's 10-inch with an artificial star. So this thing here. And it was really fun to do that. And it was a pleasure to see such a beast as this one. This is 16-inch RC Pro telescope. And the optics are just insane. And the whole design is absolutely awesome. And here is how we dismantled a beach. Yeah, so it was a bit it's not that serious there.
So
At least at the breaks.
you had a nice time there. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was great.
Great to hear.
Yeah, so that's it for me.
Fantastic. Okay, I have not too much to show, but let me. So you should see a browser. I also captured IC342 from my backyard with my OSC camera, Optolong L Pro filter, and yeah, that's the result. I really like it. It is a very difficult target, by the way, because this is obviously called the hidden galaxy. It is hidden behind that galactic dust here. This is also why it appears so reddish. but it is super large. It is nearly the size of M101, but yeah, it's hard to photograph. This one here is, I'm pretty sure, something around 6 hours or so. So deep integration. M47, that was my first glimpse to the Galaxy season, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm not really happy with it. There should be added a bit more data, but always a nice target in the sky. And right now it's also very high here and a good target to capture. And I'm pretty unsure why I cropped it. It is all taken with an ASI 2400 MC. That means a full frame color camera. So normally no need to crop it, but maybe there was some gradient issue here that may be possible. This one was one of my deeper integrations this summer. 10 hours of the Crescent Nebula. Yeah, also with the Optolong L Pro filter. So this is basically a broadband image. No narrowband filter here. So for me, yeah, 10 hours are long. I know it's no comparison to other projects that we see this evening, but I'm always happy when I can finish a target in 1 or 2 days. Bubble Nebula, also in RGB. We've seen one today in SHO, but in RGB it looks or appears, of course, reddish because of this large H alpha region here. And this is also one of my favorite objects in the sky, especially wide field when the other objects appear in the neighborhood here. That's pretty nice. And last week I was out on vacation. I was on Tenerife, and there, unfortunately, I only had my Star Adventurer with me and my normal, let's say, normal daytime camera. So no modification. That's why no H alpha appears here, unfortunately. But it was a great time being up there on this caldera region on the volcano, and I spent some nights there. That was pretty awesome to see, especially for us Middle Europeans. It's crazy to see these very low constellations here in the Milky Way that I normally never see. Tenerife is 27 degrees northern, so very low. Yeah, and this is the sky up there in 2,200 meter above sea level. Fairly dark. Okay, so far that's from me, but let me just add one more email that I just received a couple of minutes ago that I want to show here. I just have to read it by myself. So from Ben, I hope I can keep up the elephant's trunk. Let me just quickly go over the data here. Skywatcher EvoStar 72, pretty long exposed here. 294 mm, so this is maybe one of the most used camera next to the 2600 mm. That's crazy. Guided and narrowband. Yeah, let's just have a look into these photos. So he just mentioned it in the chat. That's why I looked in the emails. Yeah, that's what I mean with that region around the Bubble Nebula. Perfect timing. With this lobster claw and that little, I can't remember the name, that little nebula here. I believe the JPEG compression is again hitting me. No, now it pops up here. Yeah, that's nice. That's a very good region for that little scopes like this 72 millimeter refractor. And then we have also a wall. Yeah, it's beautiful with these dark structures here and also nice stars, as far as I can see it.
And the contrast is really nice between the red and blue.
Yeah. So really, really nice processing. And the last one, elephant's trunk, yeah. Also good details. I believe something happened here. I'm not sure, but that looks, to be honest, like amp glow, what I can't imagine. But otherwise, this photo is pretty nice. Let's just have a quick look. Elephant trunk, 30 hours. Wow. That's long. Nice one. Yeah, also a bit of course, color combination here. Yeah, very nice job, Ben. Great, thank you for sharing. Okay. So let me just switch over to the gallery again. Okay, did I miss something in the chat? No, I believe. Great, and we're nearly on time, so perfect. I'm really happy about this evening. Thank you all, and especially to Glenn, of course, for your time.
Thank you.
Was great to have you here and great to see all these fantastic images. Now when the long nights begin again, then yeah, I think we can, in the next show we can see even more. Would be great. So the next show is in December. Let me just add the date. That would be cool if I can get it right now. The next show is planned for December 11th, same time, same place here on the channel. Would be cool to see you all again. Something to add from you? No?
No.
Everything's fine.
Looking forward to the next show.
Yeah, me too. So thank you very much. Also, of course, to the viewers, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks and bye-bye.